I just found that out the other day and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I can't wait to pull that up so people think I know stuff.
Hey, Internet. Welcome to Outrage Factory, the number one podcast on the internet for things that make you upset. I am your co host, Jeff, and with me is your other co host,
Dale.
Dale.
That's nice. It's funny because when you're like, hey, I want to do an intro, I was like, is he gonna have to on purpose denounce Trump since our last episode
No,
was so
no,
Trump
no,
heavy?
no, no. I wanted to try to do like a professional branded
Ooh.
one, and I practiced it. Like, hello, Internet. Welcome to Outrage Factory. I'm your
Mhm.
co host, Jeff. With me, of course, is Dale. Tonight, we have a great show for you, and we are going to talk about some good stuff. So let's get right into it. Talking about
Talk about love. Yeah, it's funny because
nice.
Derek always like he always had that introduction where it was like we talk about what's making people mad on the internet and why you're dumb
Why
for
you're done for
caring.
life?
And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, that feels a little mean.
it does feel mean, but that's his spirit. I don't have that mean spirit.
Yeah. And it's like
I'm not. You're not a mean guy, Derek. It's all right.
I always found if you're like it's like Anthony Jeselnik, if you're like too mean but arrogant
People,
at the same time, then it just doesn't work.
yeah,
Like Hunter S. Thompson, I learned this lesson from him with writing, even though I don't write much anymore. He always said that if you're doing satire or you're making fun of someone, you also have to be self-deprecating.
yeah.
Otherwise, you just come off as he didn't say huge douche, but that's the
Well, but that's the
modern
gist of it, right? Yeah,
update. Yeah.
yeah, totally,
Yeah,
right.
you'll lose
And
your
it's
audience if you're not self-deprecating because
and
they'll
it's
hate
always
you.
exactly because it's you have to punch down a little, and that punch down has to be on yourself if you're going to be mean
Yeah.
about other things, right? Yeah, yeah.
I just thought of something super smart and I was just like,
Oh, and then I started talking, and it went away because you
yeah.
can't stand the sound of my voice.
Yeah, let's blame you instead of
Yeah,
my rotten old man brain.
that's a good call. Let's do that.
It's like it's not that my brain doesn't work and I forget words all the time. It's that you were talking on a podcast where we
100,
talk.
100%. Guess what's in my beverage cup this evening?
uh come?
Oh my god! How did you know? It's chamomile tea.
Oh,
So
nice.
I know I'm not I'm feeling a little under the weather,
Mm-hmm.
so having a little
Try to
tea.
stay awake till the end of the pod,
Oh
please.
no, it's not chamomile tea. It's sleepy time tea with the
Oh,
bear. It's
Jesus.
got the bear
From
up
the
in it.
cult.
Yes, from the cult.
I am drinking London Fog
Ooh,
Earl
London
Grey
fog.
latte with
Nice.
vanilla and honey. But
Oh,
it came pre-made, so
oh, okay, yeah. Fancy man. Fancy man.
I'm getting some caffeine, but I'm getting it Oliver Twist style. It's not an
Uh-huh.
English accent. Sorry
That
about
was
that.
very terrible.
Oh,
That was
I just
amazing.
wanted to go and just let everybody know we are not transitioning to a right wing pro Trump podcast.
Oh, we're not
We're
because
not
all the stuff you
because
sent me points in the other direction.
yeah, because oh yeah, some of the stuff, yeah. But it was like it's funny because after I was like so like on Trump last
Yep,
podcast and how I was
yes, you
happy he
were.
won,
And
I
how
was
are you
like
doing now with that?
he started like elected like putting neocons into his like Congress or whatever, and I was like, oh fuck, am I gonna just look like a big dumb idiot? And
Yep.
then Joe Biden's like, hey, we're shooting missiles into Russia. I was like, nope, still glad Trump won because
Yeah.
Biden, even though he's like sundowning, there's like 5 minutes of the day where he's coherent, and those are the 5 minutes he chose to shoot missiles into Russia and
Jesus.
further provoke them.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's provoke Russia. So my understanding of this whole situation is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but again, this is from my very brief understanding of quickly looking through my stories on Instagram on the way home from work in the SkyTrain.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is looking to broker peace with Russia, and Biden is trying to destroy Russia. Is that about sum it up?
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. The way I feel, like Lindsey. Oh, remember how a couple episodes ago, or even last episode, I always bring it up, but Lindsey Graham said the thing about 14 trillion dollars worth of rare earth elements under the dom or in Ukraine. Well,
Yeah.
now he said 2 to 7. He's like, well, we got so Lindsey Graham. I think he's I'm so
Why don't
bad
you,
at like
why don't you tell the
politics.
people at home who Lindsey Graham is, just to clarify? I don't
I was just about to say, I don't know
know. Okay.
exactly who he is. He's a congressman. I think he's Republican. I'm pretty sure he's Republican, but he's basically the war hawk of all war hawks.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've
And
talked
he
about him
was
before.
saying, like, he's been saying, like, once in a while he'll blurt it out that they're going, they're defending Ukraine because they don't want Russia to get the rare earth elements, like the resources that are under Ukraine that are worth, he said a while ago 14 trillion. Now he said that it's under the Donbass and it's 2 to 7 trillion. So I don't know.
Eh,
I mean, two to 7 trillion is still
that's
obviously enough money to
significant.
fight a
Yeah,
war, but
yeah. It's a significant amount of resources for sure.
mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
So
super annoying behind the screens guy, and I reset my Chrome browser, so I lost all my links. So I have to go
okay. Well, I
find
have
my
them here.
Google
So
Doc. No, I got to just go find my Google
okay.
Doc again that has everything
No,
listed.
all good. So yeah, I was gonna make a cool segue, and then now you've ruined it because you
Make your
didn't have your shit
segue.
together.
I'm sorry
That's
I
okay.
ruined your
No,
segue.
that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I guess we could.
I'll never forgive you.
Are you doing it, or do you want me to?
Speaking of resources, Donald
Hey,
Trump
yeah,
is trying to impose tariffs on Canada.
and Mexico.
Well, obviously,
Well, he's doing He said Canada,
only
Mexico,
Canada matters to me. Just kidding.
25% to fight the influx of drugs from China that he's saying the cartel is bringing in from China and is coming
Which
from
cartel? The
Canada.
Chinese cartel?
No, the cartel, the one in Mexico. So it's like,
okay, all right. To recap what you just
yeah,
said, Trump is putting tariffs on drugs coming in from
fentanyl,
China
really,
through via the Mexican cartels.
and Canada.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? Canada doesn't bring drugs. And that's where you're wrong, fuck faces. Yeah. So much crime
Where
and
you're wrong, fuck
drugs
faces.
comes through the Vancouver ports, and they're like, there's like a huge human trafficking ring in Canada that's like like Chinese nationals and stuff, and nobody ever talks about it because they're like, oh, Canada's so small, there's only 37 million people, we can't possibly have crime, we're too spread out, but we do, and it's horrible.
We definitely have crime.
And
that's not, people who say that we don't have crime are completely naive about
they're dumb dumbs.
Yeah,
they're like, look at the states and they're like, well, they have school shootings, so we're fine.
Yeah, it's
and
not,
it's like, well,
there's different types of crime, people.
Yeah,
different types of crime.
But the nice part is Trump said that
gun violence and human trafficking are pretty far apart in the crime world. Yeah, and but equally as devastating on both countries. What's that drink you have? You have a second drink?
I have a street legal prankster.
Ooh, is it a not beer?
Yeah, I don't really drink real beer. This is like the most tastes like real beer I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, it tastes like an apricot sour, but it's supposed to be a pilsner. So,
hey, sorry, I interrupted you with a drink question.
Yeah, whatever. You were saying? That's the podcast, Jeff.
That's the podcast.
Anyways, I was saying that the nice thing, I guess the silver lining of this tariff of 25%, everybody's freaking out how it's going to make them poor, but I'm not in the import export business, so I don't give a fuck. But he was saying it's only to fight crime. And since we all know Trump never lies and we can trust him, and I don't love Trump, but I just, okay, I don't love Trump.
You literally did an entire podcast 2 weeks ago where you talked about how much you love Trump.
I hate the DNC more than I hate Trump. That's basically the way it works. But he was like, the way he worded it made it sound like it's only to curb the fentanyl problem.
Right.
So all Canada really has to do is be like, oh, hey, we took a big stand against fentanyl. There's no more fentanyl rushing into the States through the northern border. So lift the tariffs.
So here's the thing. The tariffs and why people are angry about the tariffs, about why people are saying it's going to make them poor, is because the tariffs, the companies, the import companies that are bringing the drugs in, they might not necessarily know they're bringing the drugs in, and the tariffs are on their goods and services or whatever, or the goods that are coming in. Guess who pays for those goods? The company doesn't pay the 25% tax. They add it to the legitimate goods that are being sold.
Well, no, the company does pay the 25, but to claw it back, they add it.
Yeah,
but that's just to the goods going to the States.
It doesn't matter though. It's still going to make us all poor
No, but
eventually.
the thing is, I'm a dum dum when it comes to tariffs.
Yeah.
So it's like if we sell stuff to the States, that costs 25% more. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with us because we still send it and they're the ones who have to, or
That
do
pay the
we have to
tariff.
pay 25% before it goes across? Or do the people buying it
Yes.
have to pay 25% more?
The first one, as
Okay.
far as I understand it.
So the bean counters just have to recount their beans and export it to Europe instead of the States.
Right. But they won't do that because the shipping charges are way more, right? So like it's
Yeah.
easier to
So, but
transport some of the States. It'll still work out net a wash. Like they'll have
yeah.
it'll be cheaper to sell it to the US and it will to ship it anywhere else.
But my thing is, it'll still just go on to the States because whoever the customer is, they'll make them pay
Right.
25% more.
Yeah.
And since they get so much of
But
our refined oil, they can suck my butt.
they can suck my butt. That's how it's gonna go. Suck my butt.
Yeah, we just, as we talked about last podcast, we got a brand new pipeline. They paired the Trans Mountain to the refineries that I could see from my house.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden it costs too much money and they just shut down those refineries, I will be so sad.
Yeah. Well, because that pipeline was so much money to build and so much time and so much so much in my backyard, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm still upset about
Honestly,
that.
I just think we'll be like, because they did tariffs last time Trump was in, and it
Yep.
was like, I think it was like 10% on aluminum and steel.
Yeah.
See, the fucking most annoying part was like
Yeah.
I quickly read this, and because I didn't want to read enough to become super smart on tariffs, because then I would have to spend a day reading about it, and then I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to talk about it because I'd be sick
You'd
of
be
it.
mad. You'd be mad about reading it for so long. Yeah.
Yeah, but then so I skimmed it, and it was 4 years ago or whatever it was. We had a 10% tariff on steel and aluminum that we sold to the States. So they're like, and then we got retribution by charging the States 10% on the aluminum and steel we bought from them. And it's like, okay, I'm a dum dum. I'm in the steel industry. I'm a welder fabricator, so I should know about how we're
Yeah.
buying and selling steel at the same time. I imagine it's just different parts.
So you should, but the thing I've learned about jobs over the course of my life is that you, as the welder, don't necessarily need to know that. That's somebody in accounting and ops in your business
Mm-hmm.
that's going to know
That's
like
true.
about that stuff. You won't need to know shit. You just have to melt the metals together. That's your job. Their job
Mm-hmm.
is to determine the pricing and structure and how much it's going to cost to make that all work.
And the other part of it is, since it is my job, I actually don't want to know about it
Yeah,
because,
totally.
like I was just saying
Yeah,
about, I don't want to read everything about tariffs. I don't want to know too much about metal because it's already a giant chunk of my life for 8 hours a day.
yeah.
I don't want it to be more.
So think of it this way. If you're welding something together and you make a mistake and you fuck something up and you have to scrap it and re-weld it or do something else, or you've destroyed a piece of steel that you were supposed to weld to something else and now you've broken it, and then you start and the cost of that steel and how it affects the business operations, how much more pissed off are you going to be that you wrecked that piece or that you burned through a piece of metal,
Oh, none at
knowing
all.
how much it costs? You wouldn't be mad about that. You'd be pissed.
I
You're
don't
like,
have to pay
because
for it.
you do though, at the end of the year, you're not going to get a raise because the company didn't make enough money because Dale put too many holes in the
Dude,
fucking steel and the steel
my
costs
company
too much
makes
money.
so much fucking money that whatever I do doesn't affect the bottom
Oh, that
line.
I'm going to come work for your company.
Do it. Everybody should work for a company that makes enough money. Like they say they
Yeah,
care about money and stuff,
yeah.
but then they go and buy like $100,000 machine just so they could get a tax break at the end of the year. And I'm like, obviously, I don't give a fuck.
I do feel a little bit like that's every business at
Mm-hmm.
times. And I've been saying this a lot lately, but like, yeah, it's, I think every business is like, you think they know what they're doing with money, but then they absolutely do not. So,
No, nobody. They're
yeah,
the thing
it's all
I learned
guess. It's
about
all guesses.
is all the adults out there that are running shit. They're the same as me because I'm supposed to be an adult, and
Yeah, supposed to be. I keep,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I'm like, I was thinking about this the other night. I
yeah,
had a little minor freak out. Uh, I'm like, I'm 48,
yeah,
and I'm like, I don't have that many good years of work left in me, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got like 10, 15 years of work at the max.
15? You're gonna work till you're 75?
75.
Wait,
I'd
that's
be
65.
65.
All
Yeah,
right.
65. 60, 63 to be just to, yeah, 63. That's still, yeah, holy shit. I was like, yeah, you are bad at math.
Yeah.
Yeah. but yeah, I'm like, man, geez, like maybe I have that solid amount of work left in me. I don't know. Like it's
Hmm.
wild. I was just anyway, I had a minor freak out about like okay.
Whatever. We get Canadian pension. We work in a nanny state. We're fine.
Oh, I
My
hope
face is
so.
shiny. If you're watching this on video, I just wipe my
Dale's all
nose.
sweaty. He's all sweaty.
I wiped my
Yeah.
nose with a cloth and it didn't matter. I still have a pin. Oh my God. I
All
wonder if
right.
people get mad when I talk about what I look like and they're like, oh, I'm just
I
listening
wish
on
I wish I
Spotify,
could
bro.
see him. I really wish. So, just for those of you folks at home who don't have video, let me just describe Dale for you.
Yeah.
He's 6 foot. What are you? 6'1"?
6 foot.
6 foot. He has gorgeous blonde hair,
I do.
striking blue eyes,
Oh, I do. Oh, I
and
like that. Striking.
he is built to lift materials. He's a sturdy, rock hard gentleman.
Legally obese, but I'll take that description.
No. I was trying to be. I was
No, but
being
I
good.
know legally I am obese.
He is. He does have striking blue eyes, and yeah. Look at him. Oh my God! They literally hit me through the
Are
camera.
you stricken?
I am stricken. I'm stricken. I'm stricken with the vapors. Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna pass out because he's so handsome.
yeah.
Uh, speaking of handsome,
Yeah.
let's go on to one of Dale's favorite topics. If we don't want to talk
Joe
about
Rogan?
Joe Rogan, I
Oh,
knew you'd
fuck. I
love
love
this
Joe
one.
Rogan.
So I watched that clip that you sent me.
Yeah.
So was it Forrest Gallo?
Forrest
Forrest
Galante.
Gallant. Galante. Forrest Gallant. He has a TV show. I watched it one time with my son a long time ago. What is he, like a biologist or
Yeah,
something?
he's like a
Or like
biologist.
a quote unquote biologist. I don't know if his credentials are legit. I'm not really entirely
Hmm.
sure. Um, he does do very interesting pseudo biology show television shows. Anyway, Joe Rogan, Forrest Galante, talking about the potential existence of dragons. Now,
And
this one,
I just
oh,
want to point something out.
yeah,
The video clip we watched was from 4 years ago.
yeah.
And
So,
this is just coming up again now on The
so
View.
the science behind it tracks. Bird bones don't fossilize. Okay, so it's not science. It's not necessarily science. It's an
That's
observation.
science.
It's an observation of science. It's
No,
not. I don't know
that's
shit about bird
science.
bones. Bird bones are hollow. It makes them
Yeah.
lighter so that they can fly around,
Hmm.
right? So there's this going theory that there's this population of people who believe dragons were real or possibly could have existed because their bones didn't fossilize when they were killed because they had bird bones. They're flying lizards, which is not really a stretch evolutionarily.
Hmm.
So there's a group of people who do believe that dragons existed.
Okay. I don't believe that like dragons in the classical sense, like wyverns and like giant lizards who fly existed. I just think that they're probably big birds. And like the thing I'm trying to say is like whatever they thought was dragons probably wasn't the same way we think of dragons. It was probably just like either a big
Yeah.
bird, like think about how big ostriches are and how scary they are if you've never
So
seen them before.
I'm gonna cassowaries. You know what a
Yeah, those are
cassowary is?
smaller though.
Yeah. So I'm gonna even use my tattoo right here. Look at this. Yeah.
Hmm.
The kraken. So the kraken is another name for just a giant octopus, right? So
Yeah.
in mythology, or not mythology, but in like folk tales, etc., right? So it'd be the same thing. Like a dragon could just be a giant bird or whatever, right? Or a
Yeah.
giant lizard bird or whatever. I don't know.
Uh, Joe Rogan actually was talking about it on this other the other episode today, or I guess it came out yesterday, and they started talking about crocodiles because,
Oh yeah,
and he was suppositing like maybe not like flying crocodiles or whatever, but if you've never seen a crocodile, and the thing about crocodiles is they're fucking millions of years old. They're like sharks. They were around
yeah,
before
they're
trees were around.
yeah.
So, and the weird thing about them is they don't die. They just get bigger until something kills them. I mean, they probably eventually die, but they can live to be like, they're like how
Crocodiles.
turtles live to be
Yeah, like
hundreds of years
500
old.
years old or whatever, right? Yeah,
So, way back before people had guns, you would have had like, you would basically have like an alpha crocodile that would be a couple hundred years old and it would be like 40 feet long. And then it would eat other crocodiles. So there'd only be like basically one super old one and a whole bunch of young ones that he was kind of like feeding on.
yeah,
And then when people got guns and machetes and whatever, they started killing these big ones because they're demons and living nightmares.
yeah.
But if you didn't know that and you're say like some explorer from Europe and like you're from Wales or something, and you go to the Congo for whatever reason to get rubber. I don't know why they went back
To
then.
go to the Congo to get rubber.
And then you see a 40-foot crocodile and you don't know what a crocodile is. Like, what do you like? How
What
do
are you
you
going to call it?
explain?
How are you going to categorize it?
Yeah,
Right?
what do you
Yeah.
explain that to someone? And then you tell them, and you're like, well, like,
and then you're a dude, so you got to embellish it a little bit. And it was
yeah.
breathing fire, right?
Oh,
Like,
the thing
yeah,
about the breathing fire, I thought was like, think of like, okay, so just let's just go with this. Like our other podcast, the Dale Show, we come up with
cryptids.
like hilarious theories about aliens
Yeah,
and hybrids and stuff, and then we just talk about it like it's real. And since we don't do that often on Outrage Factor, I do have to supposit that I don't believe this is real, but we're just gonna have fun with it
yeah.
anyway.
There we go.
So you know how I was just talking about tortoises and crocodiles and
Yeah.
how they grow bigger when they're like 200 years old. And the funny thing is, when the earth is hotter, reptiles get bigger and mammals get
Right.
smaller. It's something about the blood flow science or whatever. So if you had a warm area, like you're in England where all the reptiles are small because it's cold, then you go to the Congo. I just say the Congo because it's like the big, scariest, darkest forest I can think of on the planet right now.
Other than your pubes.
Yeah. But I don't know if they had king cobras there or not. But if you say, so we
Man,
say,
I haven't thought about king cobras in forever. That's
I don't
amazing.
know if
Way to catch up.
cobras grow like crocodiles do, but let's just say they do. Let's say you have a 300-year-old king cobra. Side note, a snake is called a king when it
Yeah.
eats other snakes. So a king cobra is a cobra that eats other snakes. Anyways, that's just a side fun fact. So you have this king cobra that's 200 years old.
Oh,
What,
really? I didn't know that.
10 feet
I
above
actually,
the king thing? Yeah. I just found that out the other day and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I can't wait to pull that up so people think I know stuff. So you have this king cobra. I'm just going to say king cobra for the rest of the podcast. And you see it slithering around and it's like a couple hundred years
cool.
old. So it's like maybe, I don't know, like 30 feet long. And then it rears up and it's like lats come out, or whatever those things are called. Those would look a lot like wings. And the thing about cobras is they spit venom. And if you get hit with venom on your skin, I'd imagine it burns. So you'd almost think of like, hey, there's this flying giant snake that spits fire, but it's actually just a cobra with the wings on the side of its head that pop out when it like rears up, and then the fire is just the spit. I think I lost Jeff. Yeah, and then the other thing too is like you have
Right.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
back?
breaking up. Am I back?
Oh, your video's frozen.
Back?
No, your video's
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
What are you using
Hi.
a potato
God
for
damn it.
your
I don't know what's
internet?
going on. No, I have like full bars. I don't know what the fuck's going
Oh,
on. It
did
just
you
got
get a little
all
message on your
unstable.
video that says bad internet?
Yeah, it says unstable or whatever. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
I'm back, but can you talk? Talk to
Yeah.
me.
Am I back for you?
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
Did you get my whole King
I
Cobra
did. I
speech?
heard the whole yeah, I was like the whole thing about the things flipping out.
Yeah.
The lats, I think, is the wrong term because they don't have
I know it's the wrong term,
but I know what you
but
mean though. It's like that dude at the gym that goes like, oh, and he's got like this.
yeah.
It's like a V back
You mean
here.
me when I'm at the
I mean
gym?
Dale. I mean Dale when he's throwing bales of hay around all sexy with no
See,
shirt on.
how about this? They could be lats because if snakes had arms, where would
That's
they
where
come out?
the side of its head. That wouldn't
They
make
could
any
come out
sense.
right above the lat.
Oh, look, he just wanted to show his lats off, so he did this on the podcast. Oh, yeah, well, careful now, careful. No, señor, too sexy, too sexy.
People can't see, they just see my neck getting fatter. They don't see me flex.
So I can imagine in that scenario where you see a snake spit venom and it hits one of your buddies in the eyeballs or something, and he's like, it burns. So they think it's fire because they're too freaked out because they've never seen it before. So I could totally see that. They'd be like, and then the dragon spat fire right in Columbo's eyes. I don't know why I said Columbo.
Columbo.
Hey, one more thing. Were you at the stakes? Did you see the stakes with the spitting and whatnot? No, that's really good. Say hi to Mrs. Cheney for me. All right.
What's that other thing called?
Snake lats?
No, the fucking it's that lizard that's like
the Komodo dragon.
Yes. The Komodo dragon has the super bad fucking poison or whatever. So if you see a big one of those, and fucked up thing about Komodo dragons is they'll bite you, and it's not even venom. It's just that there's so much bullshit in their mouth,
Yeah,
like
it's bacteria and stuff.
bacteria and stuff, that you basically get tetanus and seize up, and
Yeah,
then they slowly walk up and eat you.
yeah,
But like if you see another one of those that's 10 feet tall, what are you calling that?
yeah. Especially if it's even if it stands up on its hind legs and it like
Mhm.
rears up and it, like it'd be super freaky. It's like the same size as you, and you're just like, oh, what the fuck? What is
Yeah, and
this
the
thing?
other thing,
What is this thing jumping up at me? Columbo's like trying to find.
Columbo fights a dragon. Fanfic, we'll make it.
Oh my god, that's what I'm writing this weekend. I'm
Yeah,
writing
but one thing I wanted to say,
Conglombo.
yeah, like another thing Joe Rogan said was they've only known they didn't have a name for dinosaurs until like 1820 something.
Right.
So they've only been called dinosaurs for 200 years. So if you're in the English countryside and you find or dinosaur bones,
Yeah, and that
or
hasn't
wherever
been
they actually find them, and you
yeah,
don't know what
what
dinosaurs
they
are, or
are.
have no reference, you're like,
This is a dragon.
holy fuck, what are these
Yeah,
bones from?
totally. Yeah, and you have no reference or no catalog of something like that
Mhm.
ever existing, right?
Oh, you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
Okay, this is kind of the same thing. I think I told you the story on the Dale show about the bears skeletons they found.
I feel like I've heard this. Yeah.
Okay, so like forever ago, I can't remember the dates because I learned about this 2 years or like years ago. So forever ago, there's like they find these bear corpses, like the bear skeletons, and somebody had like placed them in a certain way because it was like one of the cultures. I think it was like one of the Germanic, like Norwegian, like Viking tribes or whatever, and they like one of the bears was their like spirit animal or
Yeah.
whatever the proper term is. And so they buried these bear skeletons and they like placed them in a grave or whatever. And then like 100 years later, somebody digs them up and they're like, holy fuck, look at the size of these humans. Cause like
Yeah.
if you've ever seen a bear without skin, they look pretty human like, and their bones are like kind of the same proportion or whatever. So these people who dug them up, they like saw there was like ceremonial burial, and they're like, wow, they must be people with like, but buried with a bear head or whatever for, I don't know, or they like thought they were giants.
Yeah.
So they put armor on the skeletons and reburied it to be like put, because they knew it
They
was
were
like
put
some sort of spiritual thing.
yeah. Yeah.
So they added their own culture and spiritualness to it. And then someone else dug it up and they found these bear skeletons with
Wearing
armor, and
armor
they're
and they're
like,
like,
fuck it, these
what
are
the fuck?
giants.
Yeah. Yeah,
Giants are
totally.
real. Because if you have like a grizzly bear skeleton,
Yeah.
they're like probably 10 feet back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Do you want to know another fun fact?
Sure.
In the south of France where cavemen lived,
Yeah.
there was also cave bears,
Cave people.
cave hyenas,
Yeah.
and cave lions,
So okay.
all in
Did
the
we
south of France, and they were bigger than like their modern counterparts.
I swear to God, I just read something or watched something that 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 science has now discovered that cave or there's like a theory or something that cave people don't really
Caveman,
exist.
just say
Cave
caveman.
cavemen. The cavemen aren't really a thing. And that like the skeletons that they found in caves is because people put them in caves before they learned about burial.
Oh yeah, well
They never
they just
lived in the caves. They just buried their corpses in the caves, and we found the corpses in the caves, but the people actually lived out in the plains and on the in communities and stuff.
I
So
feel
like,
that like that's
so cavemen is
semantics.
like not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, but they painted in the caves and stuff, and they would have
Yeah,
sheltered in there in bad storms and stuff. Like I agree, they probably didn't live in there because if you think about it, a cave would be a super
it'd be a shitty place to live.
inconvenient place to live because
Yeah,
it's far away from the prey you're hunting.
yeah,
Apparently, there's hyenas, bears, and lions. Oh
yeah.
my,
Cave bears and cave hyenas and shit in
yeah.
there.
So
Yeah,
you don't want to
cave
fucking live with
spiders.
them.
Yeah,
But I'd imagine if it was like the rainy season or something or winter, and but like we feel bad about cavemen and stuff and how they're like, oh, their life must have sucked, hunter gatherers, but they lived in the south of France.
yeah,
Like that'd be amazing. I'd live in the south of France. Isn't that
yeah.
like one of the who to nice places to live?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah.
I mean, maybe not back then.
It Depends where you go in the south of France. I know on the like Marseille side, it's a pretty tough port town. It's not really a nice, but I know what you mean. It's the Mediterranean side of France, is basically what you're saying.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Like you think about like a port town and you think about like Scottish and Irish, like fucking longshoremen and like,
Yeah,
hey, and then
yeah.
you put that in the south of France. So
Oh,
you have
it's
like
completely different.
fancy Frenchmen, to
No,
say that
no.
in the most non-offensive way possible, that are all they're like French dudes eating baguettes and like wearing berets
We will
and
unload
drinking
this boat
swirly wine,
later. Yeah,
and then they're still longshoremen.
yeah. They're wearing those striped shirts and like a
Yeah.
beret. Yeah. Oh, we will unload the boat after the cigarette.
Hon hon hon. Yeah.
Today
After
on
les fag.
Outrage Factory. Today on Outrage Factory does French racism. There we go. Oh my god.
Hey, it's not
Oh,
hon hon hon. Actually, I have no French in me, so I can't get away with
do you
attacking the
want
French.
some? I'll come right over.
Hey yo,
Oh,
a little bit.
what else do we? What a little? Yeah, a minuscule amount of French.
Oh, I guess we got to talk about why the fuck we're talking about Joe Rogan believes in dragons.
Oh yeah, what?
So,
Yeah, finish that story for me.
so he's talking about that or whatever 4 years ago, and then he had a comedian guest recently. Can't remember her name, but she just a Netflix special just dropped. So he'll usually have comedians on when their Netflix specials come out. I think her last name's Appalucci.
Oh God, I started watching that and I had to turn it off. It was so terrible.
Oh, dude, it's so offensive. I
I will.
loved it.
I will. I was, dude. It wasn't even like it didn't make me laugh
It
at
made me
all.
laugh.
And I get it. I wasn't. I was in the mood to watch. Like it was suggested on my Netflix thing because I watch a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
comedy on Netflix, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I put it on, and I was just like, I was in the mood to laugh. And
yeah.
like I didn't know anything about her. Adrian,
Mm-hmm.
the Iannucci.
Appalucci,
No,
Capalucci,
starts
Lappalucci.
with an I. Anyway, um, and then so I started watching. I was just like, holy shit, it's not making me
Yeah,
laugh
it's
at all.
pretty
It's just
dark.
like pretty dark, pretty
It's
dark.
dark comedy. Do you have Disney Plus?
No, 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 not right now. I have one
Oh,
streaming service at a time, so I only have
okay. I
Netflix
was
right
gonna say Jim Gaffigan has a special that just came out on Disney Plus, and that's the exact opposite.
now.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot lighter.
My
And
son
he,
loves Jim Gaffigan. So did you know
oh
that Jim
really?
Gaffigan and I share a birthday?
No.
We share a birthday. We share a
Nice.
birthday. He and I have the same birthday. It's July 7th. Send me money.
Nice. Okay. So, anyways, that's send all your money interact at
Yeah.
outragefactpod dot or at Google at
Jesus, Dale, get the
gmail.com.
you gotta get the
Holy
email address right,
fuck.
or no one's ever gonna send us any money.
I can't even
Uh,
blame you for talking that time.
That's why it's a zero balance in our Patreon right there. As Dale
Yeah.
does not know where to send the money to.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell me why. So
Okay.
so
So Joe Rogan
Adrian,
was
I'm
talking to
looking up
this
her name because I want to know now.
Appalucci. I think it's Appalucci. He was talking to her about what they were talking about with Forrest Gallant 4 years ago, about how some people believe dragons are real. And then he was all like, he did like the same thing we did, where it's like, well, actually, if you do this thing and you think about it this way, dragons could be real. And then Joy Behar on The View, still butthurt that Kamala Harris flubbed the whole thing and that Joe Biden stayed in too long and basically sabotaged her, and the DNC is basically like a car truck horror or car accident horror show, and mainstream media is dying because of it. So she was saying that she was like, I can't believe people aren't trusting mainstream media and they're going to this guy Joe Rogan who believes in dragons. And then Joe Rogan retweeted this and he was like, I'm making that my fucking Twitter bio or X bio. So now his X bio just says dragon believer.
Oh wow, there we
And
go.
I'm like, that's the reason why I love Joe Rogan, because somebody like just rips into him and he just replies the most hilarious way possible. They're like, can you believe this guy believes in dragons? And he's like, yeah, it's hilarious. I'm changing my bio to say I believe in dragons.
I'm a dragon believer.
And
Yeah.
it's like, it's the best way to deal with criticism. Like, what could Joy Behar come back and say? She's like,
Yeah.
because everybody who listens to Joe Rogan knows Joe Rogan. And like me, I love that about him, is he'll just like be self-deprecating and be like, yeah, whatever. I believe in dragons. Cool. And then he'll talk about how they could exist. And that's what we go to Joe Rogan for, is because you just want to talk about aliens and conspiracy theories. and then sometimes he'll have a scientist on, but you just want to like take 3 hours while I'm welding metal together, and he'll just like basically hey, what do you think of this? Like the way we did
Yeah.
about how dragons could exist. So
But he
that's
did
why
it
it came up. But
professionally with millions of dollars backing it, and
I
Dale
mean,
can't get our fucking Patreon correct.
we
So
could if we the uh Adam Carolla said it the best. He's like, the way to become successful at podcasting is to be really, really famous first.
right, yeah, that's totally, and that's really what it is. And neither of us have scratched the
Mm-mm.
surface of fame.
Yeah, like I started listening to
Yeah,
Joe Rogan 10 years ago, or no, sorry, in 2010. And the whole reason I started listening to it was like, oh, Joe Rogan, the guy from Fear Factory and fucking News Radio.
news
I'll
radio.
listen to
Yeah,
it. And then, like, fortunately, one of the first episodes I listened to was him and this guy named Duncan Trussell. And they were just having this big existential discussion about like the universe and our parts in it. And like, they were high or whatever, and they're talking about like stars and dying and all this stuff. I was like, this is crazy. I'm in.
got hooked right
Yeah.
away. I don't think I've ever watched a full Joe Rogan episode.
Oh,
I used to
really?
watch the JRE shorts, like where it was like the clips of the best parts from it
Oh,
every
yeah.
once in a while, but just to get the gist of it, mostly to keep up with what you were talking about. So when I wasn't doing the podcast with you and I
Dude,
was just on my own, I was
Joe
like,
Rogan is my gateway drug. There is so much stuff I'm into
yeah,
because of Joe Rogan.
and I know that, and like some of the stuff that we've discussed on the Dale show was a direct result of someone else you saw on Joe Rogan at some point,
Yeah.
right? So like
Like Graham
it's kind of,
Hancock. You and me
yeah,
both
Grant.
love him.
I actually really I won't say I love him. I love what
I
he
love him.
stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I love what he stands for. I love that there's a contradictory theory to a mainstream theory.
Yeah. And
That's
that's all Joe Rogan is. It's like,
yeah.
because Graham Hancock's like,
Yeah, and
well,
I guess you're right. And I don't like Joe Rogan, but you
yeah.
just summed up, you just basically called my bluff. It's not that I don't, yeah, right? Because like I do because I like Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
And that's basically I like Graham Hancock for the same reasons I should like Joe Rogan, but I don't.
And the whole reason Graham Hancock was on Joe Rogan in the first place was just because Joe Rogan like watched some of his videos on YouTube. Is like, I got to
Because it's
talk to this
interesting.
guy. Yeah.
He has interesting, believable. It's not like some of the other conspiracy theory stuff we talk about on the other show.
Yeah.
It's
It's not alien hybrids.
no,
It's
it's like it's possible. It's explanations for things we can't explain, and as
Hmm.
humans, we're always looking for answers to shit, right?
Yeah.
Like even if we don't think we are, we're looking for answers to why we're here,
Yeah. The
right?
shortest synopsis about Graham Hancock is he believes there's a hidden civilization that we forgot about. And like 12,000 years ago, there was this thing called the
The Younger
Under
Dryas,
impact or something.
yeah.
And it wiped out civilization. But then, so we were like really advanced before that. And then we got wiped back to hunter gatherers. And then if you go to like Gobekli Tepe and stuff, there's like, that's why you have like ancient ruins that nobody knows how they got made, like the pyramids and shit.
So here you go, Dale.
Yeah.
Last week
Mm-hmm.
I was at Chichen Itza.
Chichen Itza. Chicken pizza?
Last week I was at Chichen Itza.
Chicken pizza?
Chichen Itza. So, yeah, it's like last week I was there,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
I clapped,
Yeah.
and I heard the Quetzal respond.
Quetzalcoatl? What's it
No, not
sound like?
Quetzalcoatl's the god. It sounds like a
Oh.
bird. The Quetzal is a bird, and when you clap in a certain location, the architecture of the pyramid goes Gah! Like it. You clap and it goes Gah! Like
Oh, really?
it makes the sound the bird makes.
That's insane.
Dude, I don't even know how to explain this to you, right? And I know
Yeah.
somebody's gonna say, oh, it's a touristy thing or whatever.
Well,
It's been there for like, a really, really long time.
okay.
So
Person
I
who thinks it's
experienced,
just a touristy thing,
yeah,
explain to me how you make the reverberations of sounds
and this
sound
is
like a local bird.
I know, and that's the thing. It blows your mind. And then there's also at the solstice, the edge of the pyramid completes the snake. The shadow does a ripple effect down the side of the pyramid, and it ends at the snake, and it only happens on the solstice.
Oh, crazy.
It's fucking insane. Like the place, and when you're standing there, there's like this weird power. So I know this is the wrong show for this. This is the Dale show, but
No, this
to,
is the
to,
best show for
to
this.
Graham Hancock's point, there's no like when that was built doesn't align with the technology of how it was built,
Yeah.
right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so like the thing Graham Hancock keeps getting in trouble for is he goes against, like Jeff said, he goes against the mainstream, where mainstream archaeology has this like built out timeline that they've spent years coming up with. And what Graham Hancock says is like, well, this is way too technologically advanced to fit in with hunter gatherers. So
Right.
how does that explain it? And they're like, it's just natural things we can't explain or whatever. And for some reason, it's so annoying that archaeologists are like reluctant to change the way they feel about things. Like the
I can
weirdest
tell you the
thing,
reason. It's money.
yeah, the weirdest thing to me, I guess that makes sense, is money. But the thing I hate, not the weirdest thing, because Jeff explained it, so it's not weird. It's just about money. But the
Yeah.
thing I hate is like when you get scientists or archaeologists or doctors or anything, and they're unwilling to change their opinions with the input of new information. Like me, like I fucking used to
Yeah.
hate Trump. And last episode, I just spent like giving him a good ball washing because
Yeah.
I was presented with new information. So I changed my opinion. And that new information was the Democrats, for whatever reason, probably money as well, want to start World War III, or they want to push Ukraine, like they want to push Ukraine against Russia up until the point right before they start World War III. But how we don't know if they're not going to
Right.
start World War III. So that's the thing. Or like COVID. Like I know it's like a big fucking thing, but the most annoying thing about COVID for me was you would get opinions. I'd be like, that's it. Don't question it. Don't like that whole thing. Don't do your own research. I'm like, wait, wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait. We should be talking about this the whole time. So now it bifurcated society into two camps where it's like you have anti-vaxxers and then you have like COVID people who are like, yeah, it happened exactly the same way. But it's like we should have been talking about this the whole time
Right.
and like not not like we should have been using like stuff to fight the symptoms of COVID while it was happening and all this stuff. And like we should have had that big fucking blow up about ivermectin. We should have been like, okay, does this help? Instead of just dismissing it as horse paste,
Yeah.
we should have had this like huge conversation about, hey, could it help some people instead of other people? Like that was my whole thing that was annoying
Yeah.
about it.
No, for
And
sure.
it sucks every time you bring up COVID because everybody's butthole puckers
Yeah, they do.
because
It
they're like,
does, dude. Because
fuck,
it
is he on my side or the other
no,
side?
man, it was a traumatic experience for the
Yeah.
entire world. Let's just remember that COVID, like, it fucked us all up, like
Dude,
to the point where
I
I still
on
don't
yeah.
go out or do anything. I stay
I
at home in
mean,
my
I
pajamas.
love not going out, but
Yeah.
I feel like society has PTSD.
Oh,
Like I
absolutely, we
feel
do.
like
100%.
everybody's just they're not angrier, but they get angrier easier at
Yeah.
strangers. Like
Yeah.
we've
Our
like
tolerance level for bullshit is gone,
yeah.
right? It's
Like
fucking
think about
gone. It's
road rage. I
improved.
feel like road rage is like ramped up.
Take the SkyTrain now. I don't have to worry about road rage so much. Well, when I ride my motorcycle, it's a little bit scarier, but
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
SkyTrain doesn't go to Richmond where I work, so I can't
Yeah,
take it to
I know
work.
it doesn't go anywhere near where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The man, I just like you're right. It's all at the end of the day, it's all about money too, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I know it's I don't know what this is about. It's about money, right? Whenever
Hmm.
you don't know what it's about somebody's pockets getting lined with something. So
Yeah,
yeah, and
definitely.
I mean that's really the basis of where Graham Hancock sits, and I think you explained that already. So I'll stop talking about it. I'm
Oh,
sick.
speaking of money,
Oh,
since we're 47 minutes into this. Okay,
yep.
what?
Oh no,
What?
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you may I apologize in advance to everyone for the sniffling. I've been sniffling. So I am, speaking of COVID, I've got all my shots. My shots are up to date. I got a flu shot and everything, and I'm sick now. What the fuck? I'm just
Oh,
kidding. I'm
you
not gonna
always
be
get
that
sick
guy.
after the flu shot.
Dude, no, but that was weeks ago now.
Oh.
Uh I was just kidding. I was just blowing it out of proportion. I'm like, I got all my shots. Why am I sick?
Dude, there's something
I'm
going
being one of
around.
those
Like,
guys. Yeah.
I've been a little bit sick like 3 or 4 times in the last 2 months, and it's
Yeah.
so annoying. There's like some sort of nagging cold going around.
Yeah. Well, luckily I have my sleepy time tea and I'm just
Ooh.
chilling, trying to get good. I'm gonna be falling asleep soon.
Throat coat tea.
It
Throat
coats your
goat tea.
throat.
Yeah, oh my god, it does.
Definitely isn't
So
sperm.
I never heard of that before, throat coat tea.
Yeah.
until I was in a band with Barry, our drummer, and he was talking about it, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "What are you fucking talking about, Barry?" He's crazy anyway, but I love you, Barry. You're the best. B, you're the best. But yeah, he was talking about throat coat tea. I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I didn't believe him that it was an actual thing, and then I saw it on the shelves at the store. That's a dumb
Nice.
story, Jeff. Let's go move on. Speaking of dumb stories, a duct tape banana sells for $6.2 million at the Sotheby's auction. Did you know that Dale and I live in Vancouver? Just as a side shoot before we start this little tidbit of fun information. When you are tootling around Vancouver and you see a piece of property for sale and it has a Sotheby's sign on it, you can't afford it. You just don't even look at how much that house costs, because it's more than you can afford.
I feel like any sign that's on a for sale sign I can't afford.
I feel like real estate signs, there's certain signs that when you see it, you're like, I could probably buy that place, but you're like, is it going to be a good place? Is the question. So,
No, but for me, anywhere in the lower mainland, I can't afford anything. Like a one
oh wow,
bedroom condo is 400 grand for
yeah,
the shitty ones.
yeah,
That's
absolutely,
nuts.
yeah, it's insane.
Actually, maybe I could barely afford that. I think that's about how much I could get for a mortgage.
There you go. Right.
But yeah.
So, in a long line of ridiculous art that sells for tons of money,
Oh,
how
wait,
do
let me
you?
ask you a question.
Sure.
Didn't this happen 2 years ago? Am I going crazy?
You know what? Maybe this is Mandela effect.
I feel like banana duct tape to the wall sold like 2 years ago for some ungodly price.
Right. So maybe this is the second selling of it.
No, it's like the wouldn't work because it's an actual banana
Right.
with
Which
duct
also
tape.
begs the question: if it's a banana duct tape to a piece of or to a canvas, what do you do when the banana rots? Is the
You
art more or less valuable at that point?
So what you do is you pay someone 6.2 million for organized crime money laundering, and then you're
Uh,
like, "Oh, hey, I got this piece of art. It was
yeah.
totally worth that much." And then the other person was like, "I have 6.2 million dollars in a totally legitimate way that I don't have to say someone just gave to me for nefarious means."
I see. Um, as a former art nerd, I don't really pay attention much to
Ooh,
that
are you
anymore.
an art nerd?
Not so much anymore. But isn't this like didn't Warhol do a
He
banana based
he
thing?
did, yeah, he did paintings of a banana. It's one of his
Right.
most popular ones. It's
Yeah.
like cow, banana, soup, and Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe are like his four main ones.
Yeah, and it was like the cover of a Velvet Underground album or
Yeah.
something like that. So here's the thing that I find about the banana on a board thing.
Hmm.
It's like most of culture has moved on or forgotten about, not necessarily forgotten about, they've aged out of that Warhol thing, right? Because
Yeah.
it was becoming less popular. Warhol was like dead, or like, I don't know if he's dead. I have no idea. Fuck, it's nice art nerding, Jeff. Um
I love Warhol.
we only knew about Warhol sort of like, it's sort of like, you know how when you tell like I never watched an episode of All in the Family as it was on TV. I only saw the reruns.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that with Warhol. We only heard about Warhol through like texts. He was basically like a modern ancient for us,
Yeah.
right? Like like we knew who he was. We sort of understood that he had the hair and the black shirts and
Hmm.
stuff. And we sort of got the point of him, and he made like pop culture art. We got that, but we never I didn't see anything about Warhol till I was in university, like an interview with him or anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
this is
like
I'm getting
actually
there.
see
Yeah, like
him as a
actually I don't
person.
actually, yeah, or like know what he's about or any of that stuff, right? Till I was in university.
Yeah, that
I
sounds about
but
right.
I knew about the art when I was a kid, but I
Yeah,
didn't
I'd
really,
seen the
you know
pictures.
what
I
I
was
mean?
like, oh, I like those.
Do you see
Yeah.
where I'm getting at? And like
Yeah.
so I feel like now you and I are the generation that caught the tail end of Warhol
Hmm.
as he's fading from stardom and as tastes and culture is shifting,
Yeah.
right? And now he's disappearing, and he painted a fucking banana. And now all the next generations behind us have all don't fucking really know, unless you go to an art history class in university. You're not really going to hear about Warhol too much.
Oh,
or
that's a
if you
good point.
right. So he
Yeah.
sort of faded from the
Zeitgeist.
zeitgeist.
Yeah, zeitgeist.
Right. He's faded from the zeitgeist of the popular
Mhm.
zeitgeist. Right. So
Yeah.
the only people that know about Warhol are well older than us, and they're not really considering purchasing art at this point,
Mhm.
and they're not really into watching art. They're like my parents' age or older, where they like it's fucking. They're not in hippie pop culture at all. They're just fucking gone. They're
Yeah.
not paying attention to any of that shit. So now is the time where people who are too young to have ever known Warhol initially, and they're too young to know, they're younger than us,
Mhm.
and that whole situation past us, they now see a banana duct taped to a piece of canvas, and they're like, "Whoa, that's avant-garde. I've never seen that before." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's probably a way more succinct way of saying that, but do you think do you get where I'm
No,
going?
I get
Like,
what you
I've
mean.
never
Like,
seen this before. It's like when the first time I ever heard uh Death Cab for Cutie,
mhm.
This Charming Man. Didn't realize it was a Morrissey song.
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was a Death Cab for Cutie song. So that was me. I found out later, right?
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter. But so it's that whole same thing where I didn't know. I was like, what a catchy tune. I had no idea somebody else did it before them, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
like and like when we were kids and Ice Ice Baby came out, I had no idea that was a Queen song because I didn't know Queen because Queen was before my time. Right, like that
Yeah.
whole that this is new and fresh and awesome and cool and I love this. My dad's like, that's a Queen song, and I'm like, what the fuck's a Queen? And now I love Queen. So there you go.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know what I mean? Did I explain that right?
Yeah,
Like,
you did, you
yeah,
did.
like
It's like
this is now a popular hip cool thing to buy that no one has ever seen before. This cool
yeah.
piece of art, and I'm like, fuck, it was already done. Right?
Yeah.
History is cyclical.
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before we go, because we're almost at an
I
hour.
spent too much time on that banana.
No, you spent a perfect amount of time,
All
Jeff.
right,
You're perfect in every way.
you're
Show
right.
me a picture of your banana.
Ooh, it's a plantain.
You want to see a banana? Just duct tape your penis to a wall.
Oh, just to a piece of canvas. Oh my god, what are you doing? Just walking
Sending
around nude all day.
avant-garde nudes to girls.
Oh my god, check out this. It's sold for 6.2 with Sotheby's.
Yeah. I got $6.2 million for you, babe. And then you just
Yeah.
send a picture of your hog.
Nice. Why is there duct tape on it?
Because it's art. Let's talk about this Jaguar
Oh my God.
rebrand.
So, very quickly, I started a new job this week.
Oh,
And when I
you
went
get
to
a
the
Jaguar?
no, I didn't. I got a Jaguar, so I bought a Jaguar. I just get that as a little nugget of reward for myself. I bought myself a Jaguar. I did not. Anyway, I went for lunch with the only other person in the office with me that day, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Hey, how about that Jaguar rebrand?" And I was laughing because I'm like, he's like, "It's so ridiculous," and I'm like, "Is it?" Because we're talking about it right now,
Yeah.
right? Classic marketing thing. No publicity is bad publicity. However, the fuck's up with that video? It's like a perfume commercial for a car.
Yeah, I kind of love the video because it just looks like a 90s techno song. The
It
problem
totally looks like a
I
90s
have
techno song.
with it is they neutered one of the strongest car logos. Like they basically got
Yeah.
the Kia Soul font or the Google font and they got rid of the old Jaguar font. Now they just have some like sans serif, like Arial
Yep.
or whatever
Like everything
variation.
else. Yeah.
And the absolute travesty. They got rid of the fucking Jaguar face, and now it's just this like J and R thing
Yeah. Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
emblem. Like, what
It's
the
really
fuck are you
silly.
doing?
Yeah.
But
Well,
okay, I was just gonna. The
oh, you
reason
go.
they're doing this is because they're not making Jaguars anymore. They're not making fucking gas cars. They're gonna switch to all electric starting next year.
Oh,
I think they
okay.
might still be making like the F Type or their most popular brand.
Yeah.
And the reason is money.
Hey, what do you know?
Because Jaguar is actually owned by JLR Group, which is Jaguar Land Rover,
Yeah.
Range Rover, which you think of Jaguar and you're like, that's a pretty sexy sports car. And then you think of Land Rover and you're like, that's the opposite of a
It's
sexy.
the opposite of a sexy sports car. That's a clunky ass square SUV.
And the problem is JLR realized how much money, like basically what happened during COVID was supply lines went to shit. They couldn't get chips for cars. So car companies, instead of trying to mass produce like cheaper model cars, they're like, well, we only have a certain amount of materials to put in this. Let's build the more expensive cars because they make more money. And lo
Yeah.
and behold, they still sold cars. They're like, wait, people are buying more expensive cars. So what happened was
Yeah.
JLR realized that they were selling more Land Rovers and Range Rovers for like 125 grand,
Yeah.
and they were the selling of Jaguars kind of dropped off
Dropped
because it was
off.
like COVID. Everybody lost their like massive disposable income. And the thing is, the Land Rover Range Rover, the company makes 25 grand a pop average on each car
Right.
or each vehicle, but Jaguar, each car loses money.
Yeah.
They were just doing it for like big dick energy or whatever.
Yeah.
So now they kind of like, and it's if you think about it like that, like everybody's like, oh, they're tarnishing their brand. Nobody's gonna want to buy this. But if
Who
each
fucking
car
bought Jaguars anyway?
yeah, exactly. Whoever was like, if you were selling a product and each one you make costs you money, don't you just want to get rid of all your fucking
Yeah, you want to divest of
you
that
you
fucking
don't want
failing
anybody
thing.
to want them.
Yeah.
So now what they're going to do is they're going to make these electric cars, which they haven't. I think they're releasing a teaser on December 2nd or something about what they look like,
Yeah.
and they'll either be I think they'll be available in 2026, and they said that they're going to be in competition with higher end Teslas and stuff. So they're going to be. And the thing about like electric cars is like they're like, oh, everybody's going to have to buy an electric car by 2020 or whatever year, and everyone's like, oh sweet, I would like electric car. It's like, no, not you, rich people.
Yeah.
Because
Totally. Totally.
fucking the cheapest Tesla is like what, 50 grand, 40 grand.
Yeah.
And like you look at like, what is it, Polestar,
Yeah. All the
uh
competitors for that.
there's all these small electric vehicles.
Genesis.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Genesis
Oh,
is,
Genesis does gas cars.
yeah, and that's just Hyundai's. That's
Yeah.
it's funny. I'm totally sidetracked now, but you brought up Genesis, and it's funny because I play Need for Speed a lot,
Yeah.
and like years ago I played, and one of the first cars you get is a Tiburon,
Yes.
and I
Yeah. The
fucking
Tiburon.
fell in love with it because it was like so customizable and it was just so goddamn fast and light. And I was like, fuck, this
Dude.
Hyundai car is rad. And
So
then they kind of like
they
stopped
stopped
making
making it.
Tiburons,
Dude,
and
in
then
2007,
they renamed them Genesis,
Genesis. Yeah.
and then Genesis became its own brand.
Right. Yeah.
So all those fancy pants Genesis vehicles, those are all just
They're
Hyundai's.
Tiburons. They're Hyundai's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2007, there was a guy on the Canadian rally circuit called Anton Lestage, and he raced a Hyundai Tiburon in the rally circuit. And we raced against that guy. He was fucking fast, and that car was unstoppable.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
Was
a
it all
Hyundai
wheel
Tiburon.
drive or front
all-wheel
wheel?
drive, an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tiburon. It was fucking incredible, that car.
Nice.
Incredible. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. I don't know if it'll show up. Oh, I'm gonna have to send you this on
Just
how do I
turn
make
your
it?
blur off. Oh, there you go. What's that?
That right there is the Super Cat. It is a Jaguar. Oh, this is a Jaguar. This is how you build a Jaguar right
That
here.
is sexy as fuck.
Oh my God, this thing is unreal. So this is a V12. Yeah, look at that bad boy. Anyway, I got all saucy looking at this car the other day. So
Yeah.
I saved it so I could get right back to showing just for this exact moment. Look at that. Oh, I got it all sexy about it. So that is the company called TWR Performance built that, and it's called the Super Cat, and it's a resto mod from the 80s. It's an 80s Jaguar built
Oh,
out like
nice.
that. So when I think of a Jaguar, that's what I think of. Something fucking rad. Or the one they built on Roadkill, that was the Draguar that they made it into a drag car. It was
Oh,
pretty cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
didn't really listen to that. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, I'll try to.
do yourself a favor and watch it. It's interesting.
Yeah, like it is all like
It's
bold
30
colors.
seconds. You have that kind of time. If you've
It
listened
is.
to this, you can watch that video.
I'll put the link in the show notes. It is a very, very on Jaguar like. It is not.
You are.
It is not prim and proper. Like, is
No.
Jaguar British or is it English?
Yeah, British. It's British.
Like
British and English. Yeah, it's British.
The opposite of British. It's like David Bowie British instead of like Jeremy Clarkson British.
Yeah. It's not the Queen's English anymore. It's,
yeah.
A ride once favored by the elite is now going to be favored by scumbags. Let's go.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm just skimming. Yeah,
No,
so
man,
that's
all
the
good.
art. And then the reason I wanted to talk to you about this, Jeff, is did you see the logo?
Yes.
What do you
So,
think of that?
well, there's this whole thing. There's like, I'm in marketing,
Hmm.
obviously.
So I
The
want to talk. We're
there's
both
there's been a there's been a whole sort of shift in corporate branding. Everyone's getting away from logos and everyone's doing fucking boring ass sans serif fonts
I feel
as
like
their
we went through
logos.
this like 15 years ago.
Yeah, we did, and it goes in cycles, right? And
Yeah.
like there's some really good examples of companies that have stayed the course with a roughly unchanged logo, like Coca-Cola, for example.
Yeah.
And then you have Pepsi, who's the complete opposite, has had like 30 logos in the last 10 years. And then we're seeing like all these companies going to this slimline logo. And then we're even looking at things like Harley Davidson doesn't have the word mark in the logo anymore. They just literally have the bar and shield logo.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so that started last year or at the beginning of 2024. They
Hmm.
removed the old bar and shield out, and now it's like just the it's just the bar and shield logo, and it's orange on black.
Crazy.
So simplified line art for things like the Outrage Factory behind you. That wouldn't be considered a solid corporate logo. It's too busy. So
Yeah.
I think what a lot of these companies are doing is they're trying to market to every market, like globally. Like
Mhm.
we're going from like a regional brands expanding to global brands, and these global brands are trying to have mass appeal, and mass appeal is bland.
Yeah, that's true.
Mass appeal is beige. Mass appeal is like when you think about houses, like you watch those shows where they flip it and there's that whole whitewashing of the interior of a house.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, it's white tiles and white paint and white cabinets and white sink and white everything, right? Like they just because you can color it with accessories.
That's true.
So if you make something fucking bland, it appeals to everyone.
Yeah,
You
because
make something interesting
nobody
and
hates the color
colorful.
white. And
Nope. Yeah.
like I love green, people hate green, or what
Yeah.
vice
But would you
versa.
want green cabinets in your kitchen? Right. It culturally, it's not a thing that we
Hmm.
look at. So like we have gray cabinets in our kitchen. We have gray and wood in our place.
Yeah.
And and like and that was like a big step up for us to like not do a white kitchen because it's like it's just so much easier to have a white kitchen, but we're like, no,
That's
we'll be
true.
bold. And when we got our kitchen renovated, we made it wood, and we made it like warm wood and warm blonde tones, and then solid gray blues.
Hmm.
But that won't appeal to some people. So if I ever need to sell my house and somebody comes in and goes, this kitchen would be better if it was white, because that's what people expect. They want a white kitchen.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
right. That's
Hmm.
what they saw on HGTV for the last 10 years. So there's sort of a blandification of corporate logos at this point,
I
right?
think another thing too is like it's like a blandification and it's like a simple line art, but I
Yeah.
think it might be too because we look at our phone so much and the
Yeah.
screens are
It's easier
smaller.
to, dude, you can't do fonts on a phone, fancy fun
Yeah,
fonts on a
exactly.
phone
So
now.
you go to sans serif like
Yeah.
Arial instead of Times New Roman, so you can read it as on a smaller thing too.
Right. So like, if you look at like, yeah, I've used the example of Coca-Cola again. If you look at Coca-Cola on, it would be super weird to look at it on this phone. Like how do you fit that logo and make it in two orientations? Because Coca-Cola is a very wide logo, right?
Yeah,
It's not a vertical logo, it's a horizontal logo. And on a phone when it's upright, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it would take up most of the screen real estate and all that stuff. So yeah, there's something to that, right?
yeah, definitely.
Do we have to wrap it up?
Yeah, we do. We gotta wrap
We
it
gotta
up. It's been
wrap
an
it up.
hour.
I
And
gotta
it's a
wrap up. I gotta duct tape my banana and get out of here.
budget weeknight. I gotta get up at 5:30.
Yeah,
So
man. Okay.
oh hey, how's the new job?
It's pretty good, man. It's
Are
pretty
you
good. I'm
fully
liking it.
onboarded?
I'm on boarded, baby. I'm on boarded. I'm on
Do they
boarded.
use new hip HR lingo?
Uh, kind of, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. No, not really. I guess it's pretty normal
No.
stuff. So
It's
yeah,
like I work in a like welding shop, so I don't hear any hip HR logo or whatever. So
yeah,
it's like I'm in a time machine. Like I go in there and it might as well be like 30 years ago.
right.
Like the way everybody talks.
Yeah, mine's in an industry that I was in previously, some time ago. So it's pretty it's pretty cool. I'm excited to be back doing something I really love doing. So it's really good.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been happy this week, which is
Well,
not
that's
been
good.
necessarily the case. So
It's
yeah,
good to have a happy Jeff.
it's good to have a happy Jeff.
Yeah.
He maybe talks too much when you're thinking, but he's pretty happy.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for joining us on the Outrage Factory podcast. Give us your money. Send me your banana pictures.
Yeah.
Wait,
Episode
don't send me those.
257. I always forget to say that.
That's the episode number?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's a lot, eh?
Sweet Mary, Jesus, and Joseph.
We should be rich.
We should be by this time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Until next time.
Until next time, stay angry. Over the top.